Oops, let me hit record. But yeah, you guys, happy March. I have a ton of things to share with you. I'm just like super excited to just really rock out March. We had a really great February, and I just want to keep the momentum rolling with everything that we have going for us. And I just have like a couple tips and tricks that I'd love to share with you guys that have really helped me along my journey. And if you guys have any comments, if you guys have any questions, just put it in the chat. Which just appears, if you guys don't know where the chat is on your computer, it's like down on the bottom, and you can like type like questions or like comments or anything like that. But I just want to share a few things with you guys that have really helped me along the way. So I'm just gonna get right into it, and I hope I don't talk too fast. I'm definitely gonna try to talk as slow as I possibly can. And if you need to go back and re-watch the recording, definitely feel free to do that. Hi. I am just getting started, so if you guys can just mute yourselves, that would be perfect. Okay, so what I want you guys to do when you're thinking about your March goals is to pick your goal and to times it by 10. And this is like, it's called the 10 times rule, and it's something that's helped me a ton in my journey, because when you think about it, millionaires, people who are millionaires, they don't shoot for $1 million. Millionaires are shooting for $10 million, and they land amongst the millions. So pick a goal and times it by 10. Because let me just tell you, and this is just from my experience, but if we end up shooting for a maintenance number, like let's say if you're a district manager, you're shooting for maintenance, which is 2,500 QV, we might fall short of that. And it's not because we're not capable of hitting that maintenance number. It's just because we typically and naturally underestimate the time and the energy that it takes to actually achieve that. And therefore, we just don't end up actually getting there. So if you're shooting for maintenance, take 2,500 and actually times it by 10. And it's like, if you're shooting for 3 detoxers at the end of the month, it's like you might fall amongst 1 or 2, right? So that's kind of what I mean by take what you're shooting for and times it by 10, because we do naturally underestimate ourselves. And so like when we aim low, we shoot even lower. Like actually go to think about what it actually looks like to shoot a shot at a basketball hoop. Like when you're sitting at in the court line, whatever that's called, when you're on the court, the basketball court, and you go to take a shot, like when you're aiming that basketball, you're not aiming it like right directly at the hoop, you're aiming above the hoop. And if you end up falling a little bit short, what do? Like you just aim higher, right? So when you aim low, you end up shooting even lower. So I just want to encourage you guys to not aim low and shoot a little bit higher, because I think that everybody here is like so much stronger and so much capable than just an average or a low number. And it's just so much better to be pleasantly surprised than it is to be greatly disappointed. And we do naturally underestimate how much we can actually accomplish. And so when we, hi, Kelsha.
Hi.
Do you mind just muting yourself for me really
Yeah.
quick? Thanks, I appreciate it. So when we do naturally underestimate ourselves when we end up like shooting for a goal of what we naturally actually shoot for. And so when we just go with like our first instinct of that number, we just aren't able to actually reach our full potential. So when like we're just never going to reach our full potential if we're going for a goal that ends up to being safe or reasonable. So 10 times your action and your thinking, and that's how you're going to find success. And success is important, you guys. Success is really like our duty, and there's just no shortage of success. So like just because somebody else is successful doesn't mean that there isn't room for you to be as well. And it should honestly be kind of unethical for us to not live up to our full potential as humans, right? Like I just totally believe that none of us were put on this earth to play small. And like that's why we're all here, right? Is to be around a community of like-minded individuals to push us and to stretch us and to just like be better and do better. And we're all here because we felt like we were made for more, and we couldn't do it alone, right? Or else we would have figured out how to do it on our own, and we would have gotten everything that we want in life already without having to join Arbonne. So like we're all here for a reason. Just trust the process. There are 4 degrees of action. There's no action. There's reverse action, which is basically just making up excuses for why your dreams won't work for you. There's average action. That's where a lot of people end up. And that's like where you kind of just are wandering around thinking like, if success comes, success will come. And then there's massive action, you guys. And that means you'll stop at nothing to achieve your goals. That means you're ferocious in your problem solving. You're ferocious in your drive, and you're going to be ferocious in your results. So take massive action. I really highly encourage you all to take massive action towards working your Arbonne business, because guess what? All of these things, they actually all take the same amount of time, and they take the same amount of energy. So the amount of energy that actually takes to make up excuses for not why you're not where you want to be in life is the same amount of time it would take to actually get into massive action. Or when you do nothing, which is basically just procrastinating, the amount of time it actually takes to do the things you're doing instead of taking action is the amount of time that it would take to take massive action, right? So like not doing the do, procrastinating, making up excuses, all of those things take time, and you could just be allotting that time into taking massive action. So all of those things take the same amount of time and energy. So like, what are we spending our time on? I don't know if you guys, I'm sure, I know a lot of you guys follow Erica Stovall on Instagram. And she just finished Nation in February, which was really cool to see. And I just hope that you guys are not using social media to like use that as an opportunity to compare yourselves. I hope that you all use it as like just a means of inspiration, because it really shows us what's possible. It's not there to compare ourselves to or like to make us feel like shit about ourselves. It's really there to remind us of like exactly what's possible. And she said that like when she was going Nation, that she sacrificed cleaning her house and getting her nails done until she reached the goal of hitting Nation. And that she did that. And I loved this story. And I loved how she like showed up and explained this to everybody, because like those two things, cleaning her house, washing the dishes, doing her laundry, and going to get her nails done, all of those things made like she has to use her hands. And what do we need in order to work our business from our phones? We need our hands. And so she sacrificed the time that she could have been spending on cleaning her house, doing her laundry, washing her dishes, getting her nails done. And she used that time on working on her business. And like, that is literally how she was able to finish the promotion for Nation a week before the month even ended. And February is and was the shortest month of the year, you guys. So like that just is a really great example of what taking massive action actually looks like. So I'll ask you again, how are you really spending your time? Like, do we really spend it on social media comparing? Do we spend it scrolling? Do we spend it making excuses? Do we spend it having a pity party and just like making a big deal out of nothing? Because all of those things take time, and we could be spending that time on just taking action, sending out messages, like being the best version of you, making a post, like just doing something productive. And so like when you take 10 times the amount of action, you'll actually be obsessed and in your own world, and you're only going to be competing with yourself. So like I just have a hard rule to create before I consume. And I've set this in place for myself because I have like had that habit before where like I'll get on Instagram and I'll be like, I don't know who to reach out to. I don't know how to reach out to. I'll just scroll. And then all of a sudden 45 minutes have gone by, and that's like more than the amount of time that it actually takes to sound out the messages that I needed to, right? So create before you consume. That's a really, really good hard rule that I encourage everybody to start implementing. Even if you're not perfect, you guys, nothing in Arbonne is about perfection. We are entirely about progress, but just set some rules in place and some protocols for you to have, because that's how we're going to be successful. Success is hidden and found in our daily rituals. So, and just so you know, we always preach that like being in Arbonne has everything to do with like being our most authentic selves. And like the more you scroll on social media, the more you check out other people's posts before you make your post, the more you watch other people's stories before you post on your story, you're getting farther and farther away from being your true and authentic self. You're actually like feeding your mind with things, and like even if it's subconscious, we're comparing ourselves to what we think we should we should show up as. And like, you guys just don't need to show up as anything other than yourself. So like, just don't waste time comparing yourself or scrolling yourself before you actually do your own income producing activities and before you go up to show up as yourself, because every time you do that, you're taking steps farther and farther away from who you truly are. And the world needs you as you are, exactly who you are. So don't show up as anybody else. Don't take anybody else's ideas. Don't take anybody else's verbiage, because like the world needs you for you and like nothing else and nothing less. You are literally perfect exactly the way that you are. I know that like that can be really hard to believe, and I have had so many conversations with every single one of you that we all say that we're perfectionists, and it's because we're striving for perfection. You guys, I promise you don't need to strive for perfection. You are perfect exactly the way that you are. I really want you to believe that about yourself. Like, add that to your affirmations. I want to talk about what average action is, because I don't believe that any of us on this call or any of us in Arbonne are made to take average action, because I believe and see you all as much higher beings than just average people. I mean, we added this side hustle because we thought that and had a feeling that we were made for more. So I really encourage you to not take average action, because average action is just like a small amount of messages, and a small amount of messages gets us a small amount of replies. So a large amount, it really honestly takes a large amount of energy to overcome the emotional ups and downs that we get from like just sending out a small amount of messages. Because think about this, right? Like if we only send out 3 messages a day and 2 of those people don't reply and 1 of those people says no, just imagine how it is that you're going to feel if you spend so much time and energy into sending out 3 messages because we're crippled by fear and doubt. Like the amount of the more fear, the doubt, and the insecurity that's going to come from the negative storylines we're creating from getting those types of reactions by sending out such a small and average amount of messages. Like it just takes, I kind of am losing my train of thought, so I apologize, but like it takes emotional strength and it takes time to overcome those storylines that we're making up in our head. And so if we were just to take that time, instead of spending time on creating negative storylines about worrying about things that don't matter, about worrying about that one person that said no, we could be spending that time and energy on just sending out more messages. Because if you send out 20 messages a day, like the average will go up, right? So then maybe 4 people say yes, 2 people say no. And even if the rest of them, which is 14 people, don't respond, we're going to be stoked on the yeses. Like you're going to be so freaking stoked on those 4 yeses that it's going to keep you into activity, and it's going to keep up your energy and momentum to just keep going. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys, that sending out a small and an average amount of messages, the reactions and the replies that we get from those average amount of out of those messages, it takes energy and it takes time to overcome those. Like I left a voice memo in our group chat the other day that talked about how entrepreneurs are basically like emotional magicians. Like we have all these feelings. It is an up and down, but it takes like so much time to actually sort and move through all of those things. We can have those feelings, but we can also choose to show up not with them, right? So we can feel fearful, but we can show up confident. Like I was just on this, like before I hopped on, I was like, I'm kind of nervous. I'm feeling a little bit jittery, but I show up and I'm happy and excited, even though I still feel nervous and like unsure sometimes, right? So just think about that like it does take time, it does take energy to move through those negative responses. And instead of just like taking the time to move through that emotional roller coaster, that time could just be spent on sending out more messages. So just work harder, not smarter. It really is exhausting to like manage negative emotions and the storylines in our head. And if we're in a state of negative stories in our head, then you know how exhausting that is to move through it. And so just know that the answer is always going to be more activity. Sorry, I have to take a drink of this tea. Okay. So, and this is like, it's kind of a gut wrencher, honestly. Like when I talk to Heather about these kinds of things, this is what she says. And it is a gut wrencher. So if it like triggers anything within you guys, just look within yourself and ask yourself, what am I supposed to learn from this? Because Heather always tells me that if you're too concerned with 1 or 2 people, then you don't have enough people. So if you're too concerned with one message, you're not sending out enough messages. Not you, but all of us, right? And so like we're all doing the same amount of activity. Like we're not all doing the same amount, but like we're all doing the same activities. We're all doing the same things. We're all trying to like just show up. We're all trying to post on social media. We're all sending out messages. So just know that if we're getting hung up on just a couple things that don't really matter, the answer is that we're probably just not in enough activity. So just know that fear is a fire and it doesn't blaze unless you give it oxygen. And like giving fear that oxygen it needs to actually engulf in flames is a choice. And feeling fear actually just means that it's time to take action. If you're ever feeling stuck in your life or in your business, the only way to get unstuck is to take action, is to move one way or the other. Because when we're crippled by fear, we just sit there and do nothing. The only way to get unstuck is to take action. And so like just like don't debate things, don't wonder what the next step is, feel fear and attack it head on, and just don't even give it room to breathe or grow. We like attended this really great seminar by Keith Kochner, and it was called Eradicating Fear. And Keith said that fear is literally like a lion walking around trying to figure out and see who he can devour. And like that just means so much to me, like to actually have that visual representation of what fear actually is, you guys. Fear is a lion walking around seeking who he can devour. And who do lions devour? Like the weak, you guys. You guys aren't weak. You guys are freaking strong. You're all freaking lions. Like stand up to fear, face it head on, and just get into massive action. Because the faster that you can get started and take action, that's how fast you can minimize the fear. So I'll say that again. However fast you can get started and take action is how fast you minimize fear. So just always know, if you feel fear, you're actually on the right path. The only thing left to do is to take action. So goal set, like just get started, set a goal, make an initial list of goals and an initial list of actions, and just start taking action. Like don't overthink it. Don't like wonder if and or but, like just get into action. And I just like would never want you to actually reduce your goals as you start progressing. Like if somebody's going to shoot for like making $200,000, like we're not going to set a more quote unquote realistic goal later. Like keep shooting for that, because even if you shoot high, just remember, when you aim high, you shoot high. Okay. When you aim low, you're going to shoot even lower. Like what's that quote? Like when you shoot for the moon, you'll land amongst the stars. It's the same kind of thing. Just like continue to aim high, because it's better. What did I say before? It's better to be pleasantly surprised than greatly disappointed. And I love that quote. So just make a list of goals and make a list of actions, and then just get into action. It's really that simple. Keep coming up with a new response and a new reason to keep showing up. And I genuinely think that it's our moral obligation and it's our responsibility to ourselves, to our family, and to our future to commit to success. So just show up. Continue to show up. And this is important. Be all in. Be all in what it is that you say that you're going to do, and actually follow through on doing it. And like just trust the process. Like what does actually being all in mean to you, and how does that actually look like? Like when I think about what going all in working my business means, it means that I'm focused and I know where I'm going, and I'm using passion and excitement to fuel my activity, right? I can't use fear. I can't use doubt. I can't use disbelief to fuel my activity. I have to fuel it with passion and excitement. And that means I have a clear vision of where it is that I'm going. You have to have a clear vision of where you're going, and that should get you real fired up. If you don't have a vision of where you're going to be and what this business is going to be a vehicle for you to do and be in your life, then you need a bigger vision. You need something that's going to excite you, that's going to set you on fire, because like that's just what it takes, you guys. Like it can't be reasonable. Like it can't be reasonable. It can't just be like, oh, I'm making $60,000 a year now, I would love another 40K. Like, no, like, let's not be reasonable. Let's be freaking audacious. Like the people who look at my journal of the future casting of what it is that I'm saying I'm grateful for in the present tense in the next 5 years, somebody's going to look at my journal and be like, who the hell does this girl think she is? Like flying her family first class to Asia? Like who the hell does this girl think she is? Like 2 Mercedes, a white one isn't enough. She is a black one too with an ocean view apartment. Like, yeah, she does need that, you guys. Like, because why not? If you can see it in your mind, it's available for you to have. So just be unshakable. Like have unshakable vision. Like nothing can knock you off your path. Have unshakable belief, like in your abilities and in yourself. Have unshakable faith that you're being used for a greater purpose, larger than yourself, and for a greater good that's way bigger than yourself and your fears. When you are 100% present in what it is that you're doing, you are unstoppable, literally unstoppable. Like this is kind of random, but I watched the show World of Dance. If anybody else watches this show, please let me know. And like, I get emotional watching this show. Like I get really emotional because guess what? They get freaking 60 seconds to show up as their best selves. And they've taken the last 5 to 10 years to have this freaking moment for themselves. and just watch them show up and go all in and like be extremely excited and passionate for what it is that they're doing. It is so emotional to watch people show up and like just be fully present in the moment. And let's like, what do you think that would look like if you showed up 100% present in every single aspect of your life? Not just in your Arbonne business, but what if you showed up 100% present in your relationships? Like, what if you showed up 100% present at your other job? Like, how much more productive, how much better would you feel about yourself? Because I can promise you, and I talk about this a lot, the way that you do one thing is the way that you do everything. So I can promise you, if you learn to develop a really good habit to sit down and just be focused for 30 minutes, 30 minutes is genuinely all it takes to send out messages for your Arbonne business. It should take no longer than that. If you want to do more activity, then go freaking for it. But seriously, sending out 20 to 30 messages, which in my eyes is taking massive action, should only take maybe 30 minutes of your time. And if you're 100% present and you're leading with passion and excitement, you will be unstoppable. So be all in what you decide to do with your time and give back as much time and energy as possible to others, and you will create a life of true abundance and freedom. Don't wish your business was better. Wish that you were better, because if you want to change your life, you have to change yourself. And situations are always going to change, but if you don't change, the reaction will always stay the same. That's how we stay in these self-sabotaging cycles over and over and over again. How can we have a relationship with 5 different people and have the exact same problems with them over and over and over again? How we can get 5 different jobs and have the same problem in every job? Like, we don't change our life. We don't change our circumstances. You want to change your life, you got to change yourself, you guys. And you have the power to do that. You have the tools, you have the resources, you have the capabilities and the momentum inside you to be able to do that. You are the most resourceful thing on this planet. You, yourself, and your own emotional capacity is the greatest drive and the biggest resource of all times. If you can find a will, you can find a way. So just be obsessed with your goals. And don't be obsessed with your excuses. That is a choice. Either be obsessed with your goals or be obsessed with your excuses or why they're not happening. The vision of where you're going must be stronger than the distraction around you. So truly use vision. Envision what it is that you want. If you have a vision to help your mom, if you have a vision to give back $1 million, if you have a vision to buy a house, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Like, truly envision yourself. What does it feel like? What would it feel like to hand my mom a check for $100,000? Damn, that would feel fucking insane. It would be amazing. I'd be on cloud 9. I would feel powerful, unstoppable. I would feel like just so genuine and giving and like full of love. Like, love is genuinely the most powerful feeling that we have on this planet. And I feel incredibly blessed to have the capacity to actually feel something like that in this world. So imagine where it is that you're going and envision yourself in that period. Like, visions are just so powerful, and it only takes literally 30 seconds of your time when you're laying in bed or when you wake up and you're like drinking some detox tea or you're making your tizzy in the morning. Look out the window or close your eyes and start to envision what you want out of this business. Envision yourself hitting that button that says register new consultant. Envision yourself hitting that button, register new client. Envision yourself signing up 10 detoxers and serving 3 business builders this month. Imagine and envision yourself of what it feels like to get your keys handed to you to your free Mercedes-Benz. Imagine what it feels like and just envision yourself. Every time you get in your car, visualize yourself driving a Mercedes. Like, if you don't know what the inside of a Mercedes looks like, go freaking look it up on the internet and envision yourself driving it. Like, that is genuinely how powerful visions are. And it takes only a few seconds, like every single morning, to do that. So just know that the visions must be stronger than like the person that's literally sitting next to you telling you that what you think you're doing is stupid. Because who cares what they think? Like, who freaking cares? Your vision is stronger than any distractions, and distractions are going to come up in so many different forms, you guys. They come up in the forms of boyfriends. And they come up in the form of sex. Honestly, they do. Like, I'm just gonna be an adult about this situation. People are gonna like want to push your buttons. You're gonna have doubts. You're gonna have fears. You're gonna have people questioning you. You're gonna question yourself. It's gonna be something that's unexpected, and those distractions are there to take you down. If you don't have a vision of where you're going and what you're using this vehicle for, you will give into those distractions every single time, and you are worth so much more than distractions. You are worth so much more than distractions. I don't mean to yell at you. I'm not yelling at you. I'm genuinely just really excited. And I genuinely believe in every single one of you that if you are here right now in Arbonne whether you're watching this call live or on the recording, if you're listening to this, you're worth so much more than getting distractions. And your vision is true to you for a reason. Only you can go after the vision that you have. Like, there's a girl who had a vision of like building homes for children in Uganda. There's like, okay, that's her vision, that's her dream, and like that's really great for her. But like, if I were to go do that, I would not do that in the capacity that she would want to, because that's her dream, it's not mine, right? So like, just know that the dreams and the visions that you guys have inside of you are called to you for a reason. Nobody else will be able to go after your dreams and goals like you can. And even though our dreams and goals might be something similar, we're all going to go after them in some different form and capacity because of who we are as individuals. And we as individuals are so different. We're so meaningful. We're so valuable. We're so powerful, you guys. So don't hold your back from going after what you're envisioning to do because you're getting distracted. I just can't even say that enough. So let's see. I think I only had a couple things left. So oh my gosh. Okay, this quote is really good. And then I'm genuinely done, which I'm actually really excited because I stayed on time. I only took up like literally 30 minutes and this is what I wanted. So I heard this really good quote and I really needed to share it with you guys because I promise you, and I'm not telling you this to bring you down. I'm telling you this because it's going to happen. Distractions will come. People will try to tear you down from the most unexpected sources. It will happen. And so I just had to share this quote with you guys, but it says, what if the world saw a person's unwavering passion, undying obsession, and a bonfire-like desire to see their goals all the way through as a gift rather than a defect or a form of disease? Wouldn't we all accomplish more? Let's just let that sink in for a second, because I think that is freaking powerful. Because I can tell you from true experience that when people see other people going all in after their goals, they are gonna come and try to tear you down. They are going to come. The distractions are gonna come when some big shit is about to happen. Just so you know, right before you're right around the corner of accomplishing something massive, or right after you're doing that, yes, Kelsha, I will text you this quote because it's so, so powerful. Well, when you are right around the corner of doing something amazing for yourself, or right after it happens, distractions are going to come in and they're going to try to tear you down. That's just how the world works. And I think it's really effed up. And that's why we need to lean into each other and lean into this community that we have, because we're so, so blessed to be surrounded by a community of like-minded individuals who we all have the emotional capacity, the excitement, and the passion to go after our dreams. So go all in. Go all in what it is that you're doing. I'm just going to say that quote one more time and I will actually text it to you. So, what if the world saw a person's unwavering passion, undying obsession, and a bonfire-like desire to see their goals all the way through as a gift rather than a defect or a form of disease? Wouldn't we all accomplish more? Oh my gosh, it's so good. Oh gosh, it's so good. So just know some shit's gonna happen. And when you're going for it, you're gonna feel that pushback. You're gonna feel it. It's gonna happen. Expect it to happen. And when you expect it to happen, when it comes, you're gonna be like, oh, I knew this was gonna happen. I heard this was gonna happen to me. And you're gonna move through that BS so much faster, you guys. You guys are just worth so much more than distractions. Your visions are worth so much more than distractions. So don't let that shit pull you down. But that's genuinely what I had for you guys tonight. So yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording and